Hello, everyone. James again, bringing another book review. This was my introduction to training your mind. Kind of my first introduction to self development. Definitely an older book, but when I was in high school, I think it was my sophomore year, we had a substitute teacher come in. It was a really interesting guy, and he stood up in front of class and talked about memory and training your memory and how to develop your memory and things like that. And then he had us list off a list of like 20 different things, and he just listened to it once and then repeated it back to us. No questions asked, without fail, every time. And he could recite all the presidents and vice presidents and all the states of the country and all the capitals of each state and all sorts of random information, just random lists that he had memorized. And I thought it was really cool. And at the end of the whole demonstration that he had set up, he was offering this little book here, the memory book. And he said everything that he learned was in the book. And it's just a little tiny tome. Like I said, an older book. It's written by Harry Lorayne and Jerry Lucas. And it's the first time, like I said, that I came across self-development, mental development, and specifically developing your memory. So I ended up heading over to the store and picking it up and reading it and practicing and working hard on it. And I never had to take notes again in school. There's all sorts of little memory techniques for, like what he did, remembering lists of information, or what I use a lot is remembering people's names or trying to trigger memory events and things like that. But he goes into all sorts of cool stuff, like if you need to memorize a speech that you're giving, they talk about the old methods of building a memory palace and connecting different parts of the speech. As you walk through this memory palace in your mind, you're connecting different parts of the speech to each room that you would be walking through. And they used this back in the Greek times for the philosophers. If they were trying to memorize a speech, they would go into some home or some palace and attach memories to each room of the palace. And then they could give these speeches from memory, and they'd be, hours long, where they'd be talking about these things. Anyway, all sorts of awesome tactics. I probably shook the camera all up, but all sorts of really cool, awesome tactics. I used this book to never take notes again in high school. And I never ended up taking it to the extreme where I would sit and memorize a whole deck of cards or anything like that, but you can. Very, very, very helpful in my life. Has changed a lot of the way that I approach things, and the things that I remember now is it's easy for me to take something and memorize it. So helped a lot through school and whatnot. Helps still in business and work and everything else. So check it out if you want to in the link below. I highly recommend it as just a basic for self-development of your memory. Anyway, we'll catch you in the next one. See ya.